James Duggar with Vitalant Blood Center. I'm the president of the South Central Division. The South Central Division is all of New Mexico and the western half of Texas from Lubbock down to McAllen.
We're talking today about ways to help with the recent tragedy down there where a man who was pulled over by troopers in West Texas shot at them with a rifle, sped away, setting off a rampage that killed 7 people, injuring 22, including a 17-month-old girl. Blood is one of those ways that can truly help in this time of need. Of course, there's resources, donations, there's a lot of different ways, but this is one of those quick, immediate ways that can allow individuals to really feel like they're helping. I know when something like this happens, everybody feels like, how can I help? And donating money and resources is one way, but this is another way. Mr. Duggar, talk to me a little bit about the importance of donating blood and how you guys are helping down there in the Permian Basin in Odessa, Texas.
Well, you couldn't have said it better, or I couldn't have said it any better, Jason. The act of blood donation, especially following times like this, where you've got some type of a tragedy, a shooting, or something like that, beyond giving blood, it's also a way for people who are looking to help to start their grieving process, either because they've known somebody or the fact that something like this hits so close to home for them, and it just makes you realize that all those times when you used to say that it could never happen here, well, it certainly could happen here. And that's a little bit unnerving to a lot of folks. So we always see these things, the very best of people that tend to follow the very worst of times, and that's exactly what we're seeing. The Permian Basin area has always been very good at showing up to donate because it's the blood on the shelf ahead of time that provides for the tragedies when they happen, and that immediate response that we can provide to a hospital to meet the need comes from folks that donated, last week and the week before, that allowed us to be able to position that blood for a chance at life, because we can respond so much quicker. And so the folks today coming in and through yesterday and through the rest of this week are going to be replenishing the blood supply locally and to the outlying hospitals who graciously allowed us to come in and pick those units up to take to the hospitals in Odessa to meet that demand.
Also in the news, there's a hurricane going on, so in addition to getting blood to those who need it through this tragedy, you're also dealing with a natural disaster. Talk to me about that.
That's exactly right. And there was the blood centers. The nice thing about the blood industry in the United States is that we tend to, while we compete in some instances, we tend to work very closely together because we know that at the end of the day, the need really comes down to a patient in a hospital that need that. So because of Dorian starting to wreak havoc on the eastern seaboard, there was an appeal that came out from blood centers in that area saying, look, we're not going to have folks that are going to be able to get out and come and donate. They encouraged their donor base to donate ahead of the storm. But now you're talking about a storm that could linger for days and days. And when we talk about platelet donation, platelets are only good for 5 days. So it's very possible that donors might have answered their call, donated platelets ahead of time, but they won't be able to get out and replenish again in 5 days. So they're going to have a need for platelets on the East Coast. And we've put that plea out as well to ask folks to come in. And any surplus that we have that doesn't go to meet local needs, we are certainly happy to offer those up to that area.
One of the things that Crude Life has always said since day one, that the Crude Life community is the operators to the truckers to the roughnecks to the cafe owners and flower shop owners. And meaning that you guys are down in Odessa, Texas, we got to include the blood banks and the first responders and all that in today's interview. So talk to me like you're talking to all the energy companies out there, because I'll tell you what, one thing about the energy communities, they are a tight knit. Like I said, from the flower shop, cafe owners, all the way up to the CEO operators and everybody in between. So give your information, explain the need that you need blood, whether it's from immediately, or maybe, somebody 2,000 miles away can donate in their local community off of your words. Talk to us about that and the energy community and everything like that.
Well said. And we are, I don't think there's another industry out there that produces and provides so much infrastructure and support and job creation as what the energy sector does. Certainly in this area, we see that, and it helps so many folks from an economic perspective. And then when everybody does good, altruism in general is supported by that, because the better off people are, the better that they feel about where they are, the more likely they are to want to go out and give, whether that be time to support charities, whether it be money to support charities, or whether it be time to come in and leave us blood. And we always promote routine blood donation, meaning the average amount of time that donors donate across the United States is 1.5 times per year. Most people are eligible 4 and 5 times a year. Average platelet donation is only 4 times a year, and you can actually donate up to 24 times a year. So we are promoting folks to become to embrace altruism and become donors for life, whether that's routinely giving to a charity, money to a charity, donating time to a charity, or certainly donating blood routinely, because the act of giving, regardless of where you are, blood can't be manufactured anywhere. So we rely on folks to not only do it once, but to embrace giving as part of their life and do it several times a year.
How about locally in Odessa? Those people listening to this interview, they might know somebody down in the local area, or maybe some of the places affected by the hurricane as well. What's the information for kind of the immediate and now, if you will?
We're always looking for platelets, because they're only good for 5 days. O neg and O pos is always in fairly short supply. Certainly O negative is. And then other blood types are very, very useful. A's, and ABs especially. B's for plasma and platelet donations. So all blood types there's always a use for every blood type that's out there. From red cells, O type O, Rh negatives, and O pos are always very beneficial. We can use those now. And don't forget to make your appointment for 8 weeks from now, because 8 weeks from now we're going to have a need for it as well.